Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today's going to be a quick video. We're going to try to get through it quick. I don't have a lot of time, but we're going to talk about Bitcoin, some altcoins really quick, trend, direction, what's going on. So Bitcoin right now has corrected for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, basically about 7 to 8 days, about a week here. If we look on the daily right now, my Camel Finance indicator has two windows right now for saying that the cycle low is somewhere in this area. This is actually the weekly cycle low. So you can see the last weekly cycle low was down here, and we saw a nice move of about 60% for Bitcoin and a lot bigger for some other altcoins. And another thing that's interesting is we're kind of trading in this range here. We've seen some pullbacks. If I look at the market cipher B indicator, it kind of shows these are kind of like money flows, right? So how the money is flowing in and out of Bitcoin. I have an affiliate link below if you want to try it. It's kind of expensive, but how it works is you look for this big, deep pullback into this line down here, and then you look for a green dot signaling a good time to buy. You see a run up, and then when you come down the second time, you're looking for this to not go quite as far, another green dot, and then it's a good signal to buy. Let me find one, like a picture perfect one here, and see what happens. So let's take this one for example. So the last one I saw is a big pullback, a reset, come back, and then we have another dot right there. Boom. Look at what happened after that, right? A very, very large display of strength there. So that's looking good. Another thing I see is on the indicator, what is this thing called? TDS, trend direction sequence. It has printed a 1-day signal right here, this green signal on the daily. Okay, last time we saw it was back here, a big pump. Okay, Bitcoin kind of leads the market, but Ethereum now kind of leads the market even more than Bitcoin. So what are we seeing for Ethereum? Ethereum hasn't pulled back on the market cipher B indicator at all. So you can see, but the money, which is this green kind of cloud here, is up, 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 meaning a lot of money is coming into Ethereum. Okay, so it really hasn't had the chance to pull back. Kind of interesting. Also, the Camel Finance indicator says a weekly and daily cycle low is in this window. So I mean, the window could be all the way to September 1st. But that's quite interesting, right? So it says that the cycle low is somewhere in this area. Also, this trend direction indicator also has a 1-day. Okay. Now, if we go a little bit more zoomed in, I'm going to just kind of talk about these two a little bit here. Let's go to the 4-hour. The 4-hour for Bitcoin. You can see the trend direction is showing a huge cluster of 1-day, 16-hour, 4-day. You can see last time we got this 1-day and 8-hour, we had a big pump, right? Okay, let's go back. Where else have we seen a lot of these? Here's one. Here's a big cluster, 1-day, 8-hour, 16-hour. Okay, the same ones that are indicating right here. Another thing we have is one of my other paid indicators here is showing bullish divergence here. You can see there's this indicator that I have down here that shows bullish divergence by the green, and then this one that shows 2 on the 4-hour. Okay, 2 in a row. When's the last time we saw 2 in a row? It's been a while, right? Here's 1. Look at how far back that was, and look what happened to price after. Okay, 50%. So if we zoom out, it looks like we're going to go up for Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's what I'm expecting to happen. Right now, it looks like, you know, we're pulling back like crazy. But another thing that gives me confidence is FOMO Finder being in panic. Current funding here, predictive funding here. We're pulling back. Crypto in fear actually hit fear yesterday, and then now is back to neutral, right? So usually if we look like back in history here, right around, you know, this area in June was a great time to pick it up because, you know, buy Bitcoin, right? Because we pulled back to fear for basically like, you know, just like 1 or 2 days, and then we snapped right back out of there. Okay, so I like that. Another thing, Bitcoin monthly returns. So seasonality, July and August on post-halving years is always green. Okay, July and August. Okay, so 2013, 9% in July, 30% in August. Okay, 2017, 12% in July, 80% in August. Now 2021, 18%, 22%. So August is actually more green than July. Interesting, right? So now July 7%. Now I am expecting a September pullback. So basically how I am going to play this is I'm going to be opening some longs. Right now on the 4-hour, we have a red dot on here saying the price might come a little bit lower. We could make a lower low. We could grab liquidity. That's another thing we should check. Let's go to liquidity heat map. What do we got going on here? Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. So this is Binance. 24-hour, it looks like we could definitely come down to 112,630, maybe even 112,200. Okay, so we could definitely see a pullback. Let's go to the 3-day short-term pullback. We could easily sweep this liquidity at 112,200. So usually when the market opens, New York Stock Exchange opens, usually we're seeing a big pullback, and we may see that today, grab that liquidity, and then we could move higher. Okay, let's go look at Ethereum, because Ethereum is leading the altcoins. What do we got on Ethereum? Don't have a lot of liquidity on the 3-day. Let's look at like the 24-hour. We have a little bit of liquidity now, back to like 4180, 4100. So we could see a pullback today. We did grab a bunch of liquidity and now we're moving back up. So we could also go up to this 4400 and then sweep back down. You know, we could come up here, grab this, then come down, or we could come down now, grab this. And then if I zoom out a lot, if I go back to the 3-day, what do we got going on? All the liquidity is up top. 4,400. If I go to like, let's go to 1 week. What do we got going on? All the liquidity is up. Okay. So 4,400, 4,700, 4,800. Okay. So liquidity up top. I think the overall direction is going to be up, even though right now it's not looking very good, right? So if we look at the 8-hour, 12-hour for some of these, you see the same thing, right? So 12-hour, we just printed a dot on these as well. Okay, Bitcoin, Ethereum. We just printed a dot. Last time we printed a dot was back here, and you can see up 35%. So it's looking good. Litecoin, let's hit Litecoin. Daily, we have this sequential saying the same thing. We kind of have this pullback, look like it's wanting to turn over. If I go to the 12-hour, you can see, look at last time we did this was right here. We had a 24% pump. Same thing right here. We have the green dot. We could see easily a 24% pump. The interesting thing about Litecoin is if we go on the weekly, you can see that if we zoom out like crazy, this is what we got going on. We have this big trend line and we've broken out of it. So I do expect Litecoin to do quite well. I expect Litecoin to at least hit $400 this cycle, which is kind of the cycle high for the last 2 cycles here. You can see about $400, $410. I'm thinking we're going maybe even up to $1,000 on Litecoin. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but that's what I am predicting for Litecoin. One other thing about Litecoin Ethereum has printed a 1 week on the TD sequential. Now, didn't play out very well over here, right? The 2 week didn't do much. The 1 week, and there's a little bit of, it looks like market manipulation today. Interesting. On the daily. Interesting. A little bit of market manipulation on Litecoin. So coming in a couple months, we'll get probably an ETF, pretty much 100% chance, I think, to get an ETF here. So Litecoin Ethereum, okay, is looking like it wants to, it actually printed a daily cycle low. Now it does say it's low confidence. So we could sweep this, but it is looking for a low against Ethereum, which is kind of interesting. Now let's also go to Litecoin. Bitcoin, what do we got going on? It says we're in the window for a daily cycle low, and market cipher B is kind of rolling over. If we go to like the 12-hour, it did print a dot recently. So last time it did that, there was a nice big move. We kind of had a big pullback here. Very interesting. Now, another thing, Litecoin dominance. Let's go look at Litecoin dominance. Litecoin dominance. The TD sequential printed a 1-day signal here. We're kind of in this bull falling wedge, and also on the 12 on the daily, it looks like the market cipher B indicator is rolling over just like it did back here, where we saw a nice 38% pump for Litecoin dominance. So this is the dominance over other coins. So that's interesting for Litecoin. Let's hit Solana. Solana also looking very good. We printed the green dot on the 8-hour. It looks like it's trying to come back down a little bit. You can see here, but again, I usually trade this market cipher B indicator when we get a big pullback, we get a reset, it comes down, it should make a lower, right? A higher low here. So we'll see it roll over a little bit sooner, something like this. And you can see big pull, 20% right there. So you see a big pull down, a reset, and then this small little trigger wave. You can see the money flow is kind of low on this, but if we go on the daily, it's actually picking up like crazy, right? So that's good to see. So it looks like it actually might even be trying to roll over here. 12-hour, it actually just printed this same signal. So I think we see Solana do very well. If we also look at Solana dominance, it is trying to break out of this wedge, it looks like. So it looks like we got some good stuff. So maybe we'll pull up out of here. This is telling me that there'll be a cycle low window somewhere in there. Maybe we see a bounce off that and some good stuff to come there. Dogecoin is looking pretty good. Neo is one that I've been extremely bullish on. It's like the Chinese Ethereum. It had this massive breakout. I've heard that China is trying to take a bunch of stable coins onto their network. So I can see why this is pumping like crazy. I do have a decent size position. I had a leverage long open, which did pretty well also. So this one might be a good one to look into if you, it's a lot smaller market cap than Neo. So this one is trying to break out of some resistance. We might get a pullback. So if you see on the 4-hour on the market cipher B, it looks like the wave is getting a little, a little tired. So maybe we'll see a pullback and be a good time to enter Neo. So that's it. Dot, just been struggling lately, but that one might have an ETF come in. That's pretty much it for the video. I also want to talk about one other thing that's kind of interesting is the crypto related stocks. So Mara is in the daily cycle low window. Wolf had this huge move up here. CLSK in the daily cycle low window. A lot of these like to lead, right? So Riot in the last couple of days has had some good price action up after the pull down. So it looks like some of these are starting to move, and this might mean that Bitcoin is on the verge of a move here. So we've had a little bit of pullback on IREN. Let's talk about MSTR. MSTR, MicroStrategy. This one kind of looks like it might have already put its top in for the cycle. However, we do have on the Camel Finance indicator telling me that the daily cycle low is in this window. And we also on the market cipher B looking like we have this huge pullback, kind of like we had over here. And you can see we've gone much higher there. So MSTR sometimes usually tops before Bitcoin does. But I mean, look at this candle. We have this huge pullback. This is a huge daily reversal candle. We'll see what happens there. I mean, that is an interesting candle for sure. Maybe we see this pump along with Bitcoin in the very near future. MSTY is one of these yield max. It bleeds a lot, but however, we do see this same signal. We're in a weekly cycle low. We also have the TD sequential saying 4-day and a 1-day. Last time we got all of those signals, we're back in here, and we saw some nice pumpage from that. So yeah, it's looking interesting. I think the overall direction is up. I think might see a bigger correction in September just because of seasonality. Now, if I go to the monthly returns, again, seasonality for September is usually not very good, especially in post-halving, right? So post-halving, right, here's this one. Pulled back 4%. Here's this one, pulled back 10%. Honestly, 10% is not a big pullback, but yeah. So here you go, 1%. So potentially red for September or nothing. And that's kind of what I'm watching. Let's look at ETH real quick and see what we got for seasonality. It should be very similar. So 2017, August was a great green month. I think this green month is going to be good as well. 2021, good green month. Now we do see pullbacks in September. So I think the rest of August is going to be looking quite good. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. That's going to be pretty much it for the video. I think we are going to be seeing some nice pumperoonies. I know maybe it looks quite bad for a lot of the price action, especially Bitcoin. And this random indicator I have here that kind of goes through like trend is saying that Bitcoin is bearish since about Tuesday, and all altcoins are very, very bullish, which is really interesting. And these pullbacks actually have been showing that altcoins are not taking the hit they normally take, right? Oh, I do have a 1 week that printed here. We have a 1 week that printed here, so we could see a pullback on ETH Bitcoin, but we also have the 1 day, which is kind of a conflicting signal here. When's the last time we printed a 1 week bearish signal? Don't see one, but maybe that's just a little bit of a lagging indicator there. That one's kind of interesting. We'll have to watch that. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance real quick before we finish out. Bitcoin dominance. It's looking like it maybe wants to pull up a little bit, but it is making lower lows and lower highs. So the price is down. Maybe it's not until September that we see this change, right? So if we do get a pullback, a big pullback in September on Bitcoin, what I think could happen is we might just, make a new high here. And then in September, see a pullback, and we could even pull back to the bull market support band, which right now is about 107,000. That'd be very painful for altcoins. So maybe that's why Bitcoin dominance is kind of sniffing out some of that. Another thing that we can look at really quick before we get out of here is, let's look at stablecoin dominance. So USDT plus USDC, 1 day right here. It looks like it's rolling over and it'll come back down. Stablecoin dominance, same thing. It looks like it wants to come back down. This is good for Bitcoin and altcoins. When we see this come back down, it's basically, we have a double top here as well. So we got a nice little double top if you do this. So this is coming back down again, bottoming in September. So maybe in September we see a pullback. Maybe the rest of this week we see some very big pushes. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you want to try any leverage trading, I do use Bitunix as my favorite exchange, and they're kind of a sponsor of this channel. So my affiliate link gives some discounts to you guys for fees. And I have a couple of very tiny longs, just very tiny, in case I don't miss the bottom. I still think that maybe 9:30 a.m. today we get a pullback. I'm going to try to enter with a little bit more size. And I think we see a nice run here. So feel free to use the affiliate link below if you want to leverage trade. You can also just buy spot here. They have very low fees, non-KYC if you want some privacy. And using that affiliate link helps me out. Best way to support the channel. That's it. Have a great day. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like, hit the subscribe button if you're not already, and have a good Thursday. See you guys.